Want to do the Santos Gaetz clip?
Oh, yes. How could I forget? Wow. Matt Gaetz is the guest host on Steve Bannon.
Because Bannon was in court.
And also avoiding court. I can't keep track.
So you're a congressperson, but also a fill-in host?
Yeah.
Filling in for War Room because Bannon had to go to court for the wall building scheme case. And he's apparently been intentionally avoiding his legal team because he wants to drag the trial out as much as possible.
All right. Well, Matt Gaetz also under investigation, is my understanding. So that might be a prerequisite for this hosting gig. He got a big guest, the one and only George Santos. Or
the talented Mr. Santos.
Yeah, he's also known as Anthony
DeVoldaire.
Anthony DeVoldaire, right? Using his mother's maiden name. Who knows what his actual name is at this point? Had Santos on, asked him the direct question that should be, I think, at the forefront of the headlines. Although the Jewish stuff is funny, I get it. But where did the money come from? His personal finances. It remains a mystery. Santos's answer here is unbelievable. Or a non-answer.
Going forward, one of the principal critiques I've heard is that a lot of money was donated to your campaign by you, $700,000, I believe. Where did it come from?
Well, I'll tell you where it didn't come from. It didn't come from China, Ukraine, or Burisma. How about that?
Well, yeah, that is an answer. I mean, I also put money
Go back. He goes, well, that is an answer.
I'm really sorry. I'm completely obsessed with this guy.
Yeah,
he fascinates me to no end. I don't understand. He's not even good enough to lie, to affirmatively lie.
Yeah, he can't. He's under multiple investigations right now about this directly. He can't say anything that's going to implicate him, so he has to just kind of go remember Hunter Biden, Burisma?
This is intro to improv. He can't even yes and. He literally says no.
Yeah.
It's not this kind of money.
All right, let's start from the beginning.
Going forward, one of the principal critiques I've heard is that a lot of money was donated to your campaign by you, $700,000, I believe. Where did it come from?
Well, I'll tell you where it didn't come from. It didn't come from China, Ukraine, or Burisma. How about that?
Well, yeah, that is an answer. I mean, I also put money into my campaign when I ran. I had to sell some of the property that I had acquired in my life in order to fund something that I really believed in. And, when I was raising money for different charities, I always tried to put my own money in first. And so, when you
where do you
donated that money to your campaign, is there anything else you can say about the work you did that was the origin of those resources?
Look, I've worked my entire life. I've lived an honest life. I've never been accused, sued of anything bad doing. So, it's the equity of my hard working self, and I've invested inside of me. Like I said, it didn't come from Burisma. It didn't come from Ukraine, Russia, China.
This is
investing speak.
Investing what?
Brain?
Where'd you get the money to invest?
Well, that's the point. There was no money then, and then the next year there was a ton of money, and then funneled into his campaign under the guise of DeVolder, whatever securities, which was just in his mother's name, right?
He says the investment inside of me.
I mean, all of us need to have the mindset so that we can invest in ourselves.
We all need to believe in the investments inside of ourselves.
I mean, he did manifest this congressional seat.
I've never been accused of any bad doings. My man, you were literally being investigated by every single possible body that could investigate you.
In a statement on Monday, the CLC alleged that Santos and his 2022 campaign committee, DeVolder Santos for Congress, violated federal campaign finance laws by engaging in a straw donor scheme to knowingly and willfully conceal the true source of the $705,000 that Santos purported to loan to his campaign. The group also said Santos deliberately reported false disbursement figures on FEC disclosure reports, among many other reporting violations, and illegally used campaign funds to pay for personal expenses, including rent on a house that Santos lived in during the campaign.
I mean, his answer, even if it was true, should be disqualifying. The idea that you had a lump sum of cash based off of what you earned passively through the investing, and that is why you were able to buy your seat. Like, that's ludicrous. But I mean, we're in a country that applauds that and thinks that passive income is some sort of thing to be encouraged. But I mean, that's we're kind of revolting values as a country.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, there's just so much here. He loaned $75,000 to his campaign, but at the same time in his disclosures, he was claiming that he was making no money. He reported a massive increase in wealth within 1 year, which is what I alluded to, via DeVolder Organization LLC, again, in his mother's maiden name. He, after that, then donated more money to his campaign, which was the $705,000 figure that I mentioned there. I could go through this, but it almost would get a bit redundant because the layering of lies about where this money is coming from seems to be endless. And he's also claiming that he made money at that what was it? That group that ended up being a Ponzi scheme. So there's so much there, and that's why he can't give an answer at all. He's also bumbled through that.
Yeah, he's also heavily involved in a relationship with this family that owns a restaurant in Queens that he had a $44,000 campaign payment to. That the cousin of the owner, who also donated to his campaign, is like a convicted human trafficker.
Great.
So
I'm sure he's just doing it to get close to the real human traffickers.
He is. He's an undercover Pizzagate agent.
Yeah. And what's awesome?
He does sound like a CIA asset gone wrong to a degree.
Santos?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And what's awesome about that too is that the cousin who owns the restaurant is the chair of these small businesses for Santos committee, or whatever organization that might be, where he would spend $199.99 every time he'd go to avoid having to cover for those receipts.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. What is that with like small petty corruption with New York City, like restaurants and things like that? There's something sketchy with Eric Adams and that downtown restaurant that's filled with mobsters too.
That's like his
he
spot.
never pays.
Yeah. Which I also imagine that's probably part of it too, right? Which is
also is he sticking to his vegetarian diet?
Yeah. Is he going vegan in there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. He just goes in there and gets like $100 steak, never pays for it. Matt writes in. Sorry, that was confusing. I was not calling to you. Do you think George Santos is just a test project by big GOP donors to see what they can get away with? Oh.
Hit my funny bone. No, I think he's just a typical Republican that's just a little bit more flagrant about it.
Tater Tot says, Santos reminds me of Casey Anthony, a habitual liar who doesn't have any plans if people call them out. Lying until things work out or have someone bail them out. Casey Anthony, the accused murderer?
Yeah, I don't think it's one of them.
I think this sort of line is endemic to politics. Anthony Summers has a good biography of Nixon. Nixon was an insane fabulist about his background.
So is Biden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the most important thing. I think the coalition that they lied their way into power on behalf of is really the more important thing than whether they lie.
And what's funny too, just from a pure nuts and bolts standpoint, is like the reason why Kevin McCarthy is defending this guy is because he needs him.
Yeah.
Like as soon as all of these disclosures came out about Santos immediately publicly put his support towards McCarthy, and then now he's defending putting McCarthy on lower committee assignments while obviously not calling for him to resign, despite his other freshman New York members calling for it. Nancy Mace calling for it.
Every New York Republican calling for it. Yeah.
McCarthy does not want there to be a 4-seat margin for him to pass legislation.
Right.
So.
I know, and they all are I'm sure joking about it behind the scenes, and I don't think he gets a seat at the lunch table.